A 21-year Air Force veteran has the endorsement of the GOP and hopes to unseat Democrat incumbent Collin Peterson in Minnesota's 7th District. One America's Jack Posobiec sat down with Republican Dave Hughes and has this from Washington.
We're happy to welcome Dave Hughes here. He's a candidate running for Minnesota 7 in the congressional midterm elections up in 2018. We're just about 60 days into the final election. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Thanks, Jack. I'm happy to be here.
So tell me a little bit about why it is that you're running in 2018.
I'm running to preserve and protect the American dream, to be a conservative reinforcement in the U.S. House for the Republican majority there, and most importantly, to partner with President Trump to help him accomplish his America First agenda as quickly as possible.
And what about from your background leads you to want to be in Congress? What do you bring to the table?
Well, I served on active duty in the U.S. Air Force for almost 22 years, and during that time I observed what was happening at the national level, international level, deployed to the combat zone 7 times, and so over that time I had a sense that things weren't going quite the right way. So in 2015 I talked with my wife and we decided it was time to run for Congress, and so I ran in 16 and we gave it an effort and got very close, closest of anybody in 22 years, and this year in 2018 we've got a great team. Fundraising is going well and we're very confident. Now
tell me about your opponent. Who you're running against?
I'm running against a 28-year incumbent, former chairman of the House Agriculture Committee, Collin Peterson. He's been there for 28 years and he fashions himself as a maverick, a blue dog conservative, but at the end of the day, he votes for Nancy Pelosi. That's the first vote he'll do in January of 2019 if he wins. And I'm really trying to make the case that even if the folks back home like him, even if they say that he does or used to do good things for the farmers, the fact of the matter is he will support the leadership of his party who wants to stop this president, impeach him, reverse the tax cuts that we did last fall, really do everything that my district opposes. And my district is very conservative, and it's time for them to have conservative leadership in Washington.
Now, where would you say you stand on sort of the Trump or MAGA agenda?
Well, I am all in on President Trump. I support his agenda. I think it's outstanding. There's nothing negative about his agenda. And so folks can quibble about his style on certain things, but I see it all as positive. Everything from securing the border, immigration reform, and really the big deal in western Minnesota is trade. The tariff issue is a big issue, but every farmer I've met this summer at all the fairs that I've gone to, all the parades I've gone to, and everything else in between, they tell me that they get it and that they're willing to give him some time to use that short-term leverage for long-term gain.
Moving towards the trade issue, where do you see yourself on issues of trade as it pertains to the tariffs and also to these renegotiations of the bilateral, multilateral deals that the president has initiated?
Well, the tariff situation is probably the #1 burning issue in western Minnesota. And every farmer I've talked to from one end of the district to the other, they say it's a tough deal right now, but they're willing to give the president time. They're patient, and they say that we get it. We understand he's got our back. In terms of the trade arrangements, I'm very pleased that the president came to this negotiation with Mexico. And I expect that he'll achieve success here shortly with Canada, because those are 2 of our largest trading partners, and it's very important that we get those right.
Now, looking forward on foreign policy, yourself, combat veteran, where do you see the current major threats for the United States when it comes to our foreign policy?
Foreign policy, for sure, China. China wants to be the #1 in the world, and so they're smart, they're ambitious, and they've got their tentacles all over the globe. And I'm confident that President Trump is aware of that, and we've got to be smarter and we've got to be more strategic in our thinking and our policy and allocation of resources.
Now, I've got to imagine, and kind of moving to a different track here, but when we're talking about Minnesota politics, I'm sure a name that comes up quite a bit is Keith Ellison. Tell me where you stand on Keith Ellison and where your opponent has been on Keith Ellison.
Well, Keith Ellison is a Marxist. He's a disaster as a public servant, and yet Collin Peterson has publicly said that he's best friends with Keith Ellison in Congress. Collin Peterson has not separated himself in any way, especially with these recent allegations on the part of Keith Ellison. And so I think Ellison is a gift that keeps on giving in western Minnesota, and that'll be a detriment to Collin Peterson.
Do you think there should be an investigation into these allegations that have come up?
Well, certainly.
Thank you very much for stopping by today.
Thank you very much, Jack.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.